Oh, I'm not on here. Poof, there I am. Hey, everybody. Today we're going to talk about part 3 of myths debunked. Lots and lots of real estate myths. I feel like a lot of these things are really holding people back because they just hang on to something, and in the absence of some kind of proof to the contrary, they're just going, well, this is what I heard from my grandpa or my mom or my best friend, or I read it in the newspaper, haha, or social media or something like that, and I'm just going to cling to it. Well, it's probably one person's opinion, and there's a lot of different opinions out there, and then there's a lot of different facts, and facts can actually be different in different people's situations and in different areas and parts of the world as well. So, next myth we're going to debunk is schools don't matter if you don't have kids. Well, what the inside of the school is like and things like that, who the principal is, who the teachers are, yeah, that probably does not matter to you because you're not going to go in that school for any reason whatsoever anyway. However, these kids that are in your school, these are going to be the same kids that are going to be selling you Girl Scout cookies or egging your car. So you should really get to know who these kids are, where they're going, stuff like that. And I don't mean on a personal level, but like, are these kids college and career tracked, or are these kids on the don't let this happen to you path? So do a little bit of research into the schools. One of the strongest indicators of health of the neighborhood is the health of the school. Next, buying is always better for rent. Buying is always better than renting. Sadly, I'd love to sit here and say that that's true, but it's not always true. In some cases, renting can be better. Most namely, when you haven't decided where you want to live yet, you haven't settled in on Baltimore or Bel Air or Lutherville or whatever the case may be. And just as importantly, when you're not sure how long you're going to live in the area either. If you're doing something and it's going to be for less than 2 years, and in less than 2 years, you're probably going to be moving on, you're probably not going to have the liquidity and the ease of moving and everything to make that happen. So, if you're moving to a new area, perhaps it's better to rent for, if you don't know the area, especially, perhaps it's better to just rent for 6 months. I wouldn't really, do anything more than a year. If you're not sure if you're going to stay in that area, then take 6 to 12 months to make sure that you are going to stay in that area, because you definitely want to make sure that you're going to stay in that area before you make the investment in a house. So that debunks that myth. Next, multifamily homes. So I'm talking about a home that can house several different families, different entrances, different amenities, 2 kitchens, etc. A lot of times these things are a little bit more expensive, but because they are built into the same overall structure, they actually can be cheaper because you can rent out one part of it. So let's take an example. Let's say you buy something and the payment is $2,000 a month, but you can rent out half of it for $1,200 a month. So now you're living in half of it for $800 a month. Eventually, you could move out of it, probably charge each side $1,200, maybe even $1,500 eventually, or something like that. Your mortgage payment's still going to be $2,000 a month, and you'd be making anywhere from $400 to $1,000 in profit every month. So it is a great strategy, a great investment thing, and a lot of people are doing it. With FHA, you can actually buy a house as long as you're living in 1/4 of it. You can actually buy a house that has up to 4 units in it. So if it was like a small apartment building or something like that, you could get that. You have to sell before you buy. This is a tough one, and this is an individual case-by-case basis, but you definitely need to look into the semantics of it, the finance of it, and everything. You're going to need the money out of your house. So there's 2 ways to get the money out of. Well, there's 3 ways to get the money out of your house before you buy the new house. You can sell it. The second way is you can take a home equity line or a line of credit out of it, which requires a little bit of pre-planning, just like everything. And the third way is you can get what's called a bridge loan. Now, they have different loans that have different names and stuff like that, but a bridge loan is basically where they give you the money ahead of time before you sell, and they put a small lien on your house to make sure that they're going to get that money back, and then you can use the money out of that house to buy the next house. It's a really great plan. If that's something that you're interested in doing, then just give us a holler and we'll definitely help you out. Last one is you don't need, or you should skip, a home inspection. Sometimes you may need to waive some of your rights with the inspection if it's a competitive market to win the bid. But in general, you should not waive your inspection. There's a lot of ways to get around that to protect yourself, to still get the inspection, but not have the oomph and the pressure on the seller of, oh, they're going to find things wrong and stuff like that. Because if they're terrified of you getting an inspection, they're probably doing that for a reason. So we can do inspection for informational purposes only. We can do inspections where we're only going to ask for things if it's a big thing. I've done that quite a bit. It still gives you the right to do an inspection. It gives the seller the peace of mind that you're not going to come after them and nickel and dime them for all these little things that may or may not be wrong. And then you can negotiate that. So everything can be negotiated. Definitely talk with your agent about that. And I would definitely recommend that you put into your process and your plans getting inspections. Okay, so there's 5 more myths debunked. See you next time for 5 more.